Hello everyone, this is CJ with Cyclotron. Well, we all know that the motorcycle market has been red hot the last couple of years in terms of sales volume and profitability for motorcycle dealers. My question for you today is, do you think that motorcycle manufacturers, dealers, and everyone else involved in supporting motorcycle customers are doing enough to ensure that people who bought a motorcycle in the last couple of years will continue to ride and buy motorcycles and related products for years to come? I will cover what I think has been happening with the motorcycle industry and what is likely to develop over the next few years in this sector. I will also cover what I think motorcycle manufacturers in particular need to do to retain all these new motorcycle customers. The reason I got to thinking about this is because the stock market has signaled that consumers in general are going back to their normal way of life. For example, people are not keen to keep buying home exercise equipment like they did at the start of March 2020. Look at Peloton's stock price. It's back where it started before the big boom in sales. The same story is true with the stocks of other stay-at-home related consumer product companies like Roku and Netflix. Some of the other related sales booms during the last 2 years have been in the area of outdoor recreation and power sports. Just look at the annual sales charts for motorcycles in the United States. Sales have been declining or been flat until the big surge in sales in 2020. Sales demand continued to be strong in 2021, but sales volume was hampered by supply chain problems. We continue to be in a period where demand for motorcycles continues to be greater than supply, such that many motorcycle dealers are still charging full MSRP or even adding big surcharges, and bikes are often sold within a day or two of their arrival at the dealership. They're also loading motorcycles with a bunch of dealer-selected options. So times are good for the motorcycle dealers, but are they doing anything to ensure longevity of the market? When I was researching this topic, I found the exact question being posed in an AutoWeek article. Put simply, they posed the question as to whether the motorcycle industry and the manufacturers in particular would reinvest in rider support and events or simply keep all the extra cash that they've been generating the last couple of years. So what happens when the supply chain unkinks and motorcycle supply is better matched with motorcycle demand? Do you think that most people who bought motorcycles for the first time during the last 2 years will continue to ride and trade up to another motorcycle or even add more bikes to their garage? Google Trends is an interesting site for seeing what search topics are trending on the internet. What do you think the trend for the term motorcycle during the last 18 years would be, for example? Well, I'll show you. The vertical scale on this plot is relative interest for the search term, with 100 being the highest. For people using the search term motorcycle, the peak occurred in May 2008, and it's been trending downhill ever since. The annual spikes occur each year in June or July during the summer riding season in North America and Europe. Would you invest in a stock of a company that had this kind of trend? A feature of this Google site is that you can download the data into an Excel spreadsheet, which I did, and just for fun I put a linear regression trend line on it. If you extrapolate this trend line, the interest in the search topic motorcycle goes to zero somewhere around the year 2024. Now, this does not mean absolutely no interest in the search term motorcycles. It just means that there's be virtually no interest compared to what it was in 2008. The Google trend for the search term Harley Davidson shows a similar pattern of decline over the years. This is interesting to me because this correlates pretty well with Harley Davidson's peak worldwide motorcycle sales that occurred in 2006 at 350,000 units. I'm thinking that their total sales in 2021, that figure hasn't been released yet, might be around 160,000 units. So obviously this is a big decline from the peak from around 15 years ago. So there was a big surge in demand for motorcycles due to a situation that hopefully doesn't ever happen again. There was more disposable income for many folks during the last couple of years to buy motorcycles due to having extra money from stimulus checks or simply from not being able to spend money on other things. So if the motorcycle industry, and Harley Davidson in particular, are going to survive many more years, the industry as a whole has to make sure that these people continue buying bikes and that more new people start buying bikes to replace the older riders who are aging out. Personally, I can't point to many instances where the industry is doing much more than they did in recent years to retain these motorcycle riders, but there are a few bright spots that I'll cover along with some of my suggestions for improvement. First, I think that manufacturers and dealers need to do more to support new rider and returning rider motorcycle training. I think new riders and people who have not ridden in 20 plus years are particularly at risk for injury or simply having a bad experience on a bike that causes them to get out of motorcycling. Harley, for their part, is supporting MSF riding academies to teach people to ride or get back into riding, which I think is great. My son went through one of these classes at our local Harley dealership when he turned 15. It was very helpful to him. I think there should be more support for the motorcycle community through social media platforms. For example, Harley did a good thing, in my opinion, in 2018 under the leadership of their former CEO. They selected 8 summer interns to ride Harleys all summer and promote motorcycles in general and Harley-Davidson in particular by posting about their experience on social media. At the end of the summer, they got to keep those motorcycles. Unfortunately, they only did that program for one summer. Also, I think that manufacturers could do more to support a more diverse group of content creators on such platforms as YouTube. The biggest problem that I see with most of the current creator outreach is it tends to be with people who are already in the bag for a given brand of motorcycle. There should be a lot more industry-sponsored riding events too. One example could be Harley-Davidson's recently announced Ride Challenge for their 120th anniversary. Details have not been announced about this challenge yet, but if it encourages people to do more riding, I think it's a good thing. I would say that another thing that is encouraging riding in general is simply the vast array of motorcycles with loads of features now available to buyers. I have said this before in other videos, but I think we are in a period where motorcycles are safer, better performing, and offer more features than ever before. There are also many more categories of motorcycles that can appeal to a more diverse range of riders, as we have seen with the increase in popularity of, say, the naked type bikes and adventure touring motorcycles. So this inherently promotes motorcycling, even if it's a more indirect effect. One thing with all this technology is that it could make repairs harder to get or more costly. To that end, I think motorcycle manufacturers need to have a 3-year full factory warranty. Harley and Indian have a 2-year factory warranty, and most metric motorcycle manufacturers only have a 1-year warranty. BMW is the exception, and they do offer a 3-year warranty. Also, I think there should be less hassle associated with getting a repair implemented that should be clearly covered under a manufacturer's warranty. Many of you have either had these issues or have known people who have had a major battle to get someone to honor a manufacturer's warranty without either ultimately being denied the repair or getting the repair only after a huge battle. I will mention a few other things that can be done to maintain and grow motorcycle ridership. The first is to make it easier for people to test ride motorcycles. I think Harley dealers do the best job with this. I've had the experience of walking into a Harley dealer to pick up a part, for example, only to be offered a test ride for the latest version of some Harley model. That happened to me just a few months ago when I test rode the Sportster S. I didn't even have my GoPro camera with me. Compare that to my local Indian Triumph dealer, where I've only been offered a chance to ride a bike as part of a factory demo event. Also, being able to test ride a bike at a metric dealer seems to be the exception rather than the rule. The big thing to me is that if you can't get a good deal on buying a new motorcycle at your local dealership, it should be possible to buy a motorcycle directly from the manufacturer at MSRP and have the bike delivered directly to your home, just as it's possible with many car manufacturers these days. Finally, dealers should not be selling bikes above MSRP. Clearly, it's a free market, but such practice will alienate many potential buyers and will make many others have buyer's remorse, especially when they find later that they owe way more on the bike than it's worth, or when it comes time to sell the bike or trade it in for a new one. Dealers should have more sense when it comes to this topic, and there should be more that manufacturers do to encourage better sales practices. For example, this Road and Track article mentions that Ford threatened to push back deliveries to certain dealers who were trying to charge well over MSRP for the new Ford Lightning, or they were charging excessive deposits, or were simply even charging people extra money to hold their, quote, place in line for delivery of the Lightning that they had ordered. This is a great article, so I've put a link in the video description. Please tell me in the comments section whether you have seen any type of effort to encourage recent motorcycle riders and buyers to meet up at a dealership or in any way be recognized for their purchase, especially in this age of social media. It may take more than just being able to ring the bell at your local dealership when you've bought a bike to adequately reward someone for being a new customer. Thank you, and please let me know your thoughts in the comments section, and be sure to hit the subscribe and notification buttons.